Hey everybody, Adam and Doug here in the shop today. Today we're going to be working on trying to spruce up our garage a little bit, more specifically the wood stove area. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So we bought this place about 3 years ago, and as you can see, this pole barn was here when we bought it. Since we moved in, we've added the foam board to the walls, which gives us about R7.5 in the walls, and then we also put in R21 in the ceiling and put in a plywood ceiling, and then we threw the wood stove in here. And it works great, but one thing we've been wanting to do, and actually Doug brought this up when he was over here the other day and we were burning the fire in here, was make this a little bit safer. I think we have the proper clearances for this wood stove, but as you can see, we're unloading brick out of the bed of the truck here. So like I said, Doug was the one who brought up the safety concern with our clearances here. Doug, tell us the story about why this bothered you so much.
Well, I actually had two reasons. I had a outdoor wood boiler furnace many years ago. I used to do wood probably way before Adam was even born, but I had an outdoor wood boiler stove, and one day I went out there and was getting ready to put some wood on the stove, and as I opened the door to it, it created the draft, and I noticed that it was bellowing. If you've ever opened a door on a fireplace or a wood stove and it gets that bellow going, that woof, woof, woof.
Yeah.
I thought, now that was kind of odd. So I closed up the door and then I walked back out of the garage and I looked up for some unknown reason and I see flames and ashes and embers and everything shooting out of the top of the chimney. And that scared about the life out of me. So I got the garden hose and I'm hosing down the shingle roof and all that. But the one that really got me concerned, where I actually purchased fire extinguishers for the entire house, was my 2-year-old son. We were having a birthday party for my older boy at the time, and my wife had gone downstairs, and at the time we used to light candles through the house, and candles always made things smell good and whatnot. So
Right.
I went down into the basement, and we have a finished off basement, and in the bathroom she had a candle burning. So I went down there and I thought, boy, I don't like the smell of this candle. To me it didn't smell good. So I walked over and I blew the candle out. And about 20 minutes later, my wife had said, hey, the cake's downstairs. So I thought, well, I'm going to run downstairs to take a look at it. And I started walking down the basement stairs and I smelled smoke. And next thing you know, as soon as I got around the corner of the basement stairs, there's smoke coming out of the bathroom. And I thought, oh, geez, what's wrong here? So I walked around the corner and looked in the bathroom, and there was flames from the kitchen sink up to the ceiling of the floor there. And I thought, oh no. So I hurried up, and I knew I had a fire extinguisher in the garage. I ran across the basement. I literally jumped over the pool table, run up the basement steps, grabbed the fire extinguisher. By the time I had gotten back downstairs, it had started burning the ceiling tiles and all that. And fortunately enough, I was able to put the fire out with a fire extinguisher with what I had there, and there was just an absolute white powder mess everywhere. And in 20 minutes, we got people, coming over for a birthday party. So I went in and my wife had seen all the commotion going on, and I went in and asked her, I says, how in the world did that candle relight? What happened? I was trying to figure out what happened. Well, come to find out, she thought the candle went out. She went down and relit it. Then my 2-year-old son, because he was short enough that he couldn't really see over the bathroom countertop, he saw the candle, and as he's reaching up to grab at the candle, he was pushing it backwards each time he reached for it.
Oh.
Pushed it in underneath a plastic plant that had been sitting on the countertop there, and caught that plant on fire and went up. And to this day, I won't allow candles in the house, and I'm very fearful of house fires.
I was going to say, so needless to say, you have a sensitivity to fires, which is what prompted this entire video, and all of this brick here is building that fireproof surround around the wood stove there. What really caught your attention was the R7.5 there in the walls. You thought that might melt and catch fire.
If it didn't catch fire, the worst that could happen would be the fire. The least would be it would melt it. And I thought, that nobody needs that headache. It's just not fun to deal with those kind of things.
Yeah.
And the worst case scenario, you said you get this going and you leave it going during the evening to keep the garage warm.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
So any kind of open flame, even though it is in a fireplace, there's always still those issues. So.
Well, and the other thing is it's going to make it look a lot nicer too. So, all right, anyway, we're going to go ahead and finish getting this truck unloaded, set them here, and then we'll pull the truck out so we got some room to work in here. So we're just continuing to improve the shop here month after month, year after year, as time allows and as our budget allows. So like I said, we're going to get the fireproof barrier back there, and then once we get that done, I had a pretty gnarly looking pile of wood that was sitting over here too. I think Doug is going to teach me how to weld, and we're going to see if we can't come up with a little 3-foot by 4-foot firewood rack so that we can keep the firewood nice and organized. We'll have a nice looking hearth area here, and it'll just clean up this corner of the garage. So that's what we're up to today. So we're out here cutting these bricks so that we can stagger them. And the last video that I had Doug in and his son Chase, we were running the chainsaw, and the safety police got after Doug and Chase for not wearing his chaps. So even though we're running an angle grinder today, he's got his boots on, he's got his chaps, gloves, respirator, earmuffs, and a hard hat. So we're gonna go ahead and start cutting these bricks. All right, so we're getting ready to lay down this first row here, and I really haven't explained how we're going to put this together. We're not going to mortar these bricks together. All we're going to use is this Loctite all-purpose construction adhesive, basically another version of liquid nails, and then we're going to tie it back to the purlins down there and then up here as well. But Doug brought over this power caulking gun made by Milwaukee and kind of was explaining to me. Go ahead, explain it real quick.
I come across this when I was doing some work in our bedroom, and basically what it is, it's the M12 version and cordless. And man, I'll tell you what, if you've got to do a lot of caulking and you're doing baseboard with white trim or something like that, and the neat thing about it, it's got a speed dial on it here. So if you want to do real precise, you pull the trigger, it moves extremely slow and lets out a real slow bead. But if you're doing like big brick, or if you're doing retaining walls, you turn that speed up and it runs right in. And the neatest thing about this is when you let off the trigger, it automatically retracts so it won't drool out the end of your nozzle.
So it pulls back about 1/4 inch so it quits spitting a little bit of caulk out the end. That's pretty awesome.
Yep. So what we're going to do here is we'll glue the bottom side of this. Stick it to the top of the brick over there.
Yep.
So once that's glued, we'll stick it to that, and then we'll put 2 nails into the board here. And what that'll do is that'll keep that wall from pulling out or moving away, and it'll help secure that whole wall. But it's still temporary in the aspect that if you wanted to take this out, you could do it easily enough.
Right. Yeah, that's the whole reason we're using liquid nails and not really fastening to the wall with anything except nails, just in case we ever want to change this again. It's not permanent. We could easily pull those nails back out. But Doug brought over some coil stock, and that's the material that he's using. He cut them out, and he's got a little crimper that he was able to crimp them in a 90-degree angle, and just putting them in right there. And then we'll go ahead and pound those in with nails. So we'll have 2 tie-ins to this purlin down here, and then when we get to the very top here, we'll have 1 more tie-in on the top. Well, that ended up coming out not half bad. I'm actually really impressed with the way this turned out. We still need some kind of either capstone on the top edge because these are hollow bricks. So I was thinking either just get solid bricks to put on the top as a cap, or maybe I'll mill something on the sawmill as kind of a little mantle there. But anyway, we are now ready to go and make our firewood rack, so we don't just have firewood sitting on the floor here. We're actually going to build a rack that's going to go right there. And actually, now that I look at it, I'm almost thinking I might want to build two. I'm a big fan of symmetry, and I kind of like the idea of having a little rack over here and then a little rack over here next to the workbench. So yeah, guys, I thought we were going to get around to finishing up this brick surround and also get our firewood racks welded up over at Doug's, but I think this video is starting to run a little long, so I'm going to cut it here, and then we'll pick back up in one of our future videos going over to Doug's, learning how to weld and building our 2 firewood racks. But I did want to say, if any of you guys do a lot of caulking and you're interested in this M12 Milwaukee caulk gun, I'll put a link in our Amazon store down below. If you guys enjoyed this one, give us a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.